What is the clearest case of living in denial you've seen? Close friend with an opiate addiction and her husband who thought she needed morphine infusions for a variety of magically appearing painful ailments. My mom has been a smoker for 40 years. She was diagnosed with COPD. Good news is she can spend $400 a month on an inhaler that makes her feel better. No need to give up smoking. Clearly. My brother is married for the 4th time. My mother blames all his ex-wives. I keep pointing out her son is the common link to all the divorces. Friend diagnosed with diabetes 10 years ago. Has needle phobia, so afraid of pricking his fingers to monitor his blood sugar so doesn't. And just eats healthy. Due to blood sugar fluctuations. Gradually goes blind and kidney fails. 3.5 years on dialysis. Then finally gets a kidney transplant. Home again with new kidney. Is still afraid of pricking his fingers and decides he will manage his diabetes by eating healthy. Just like he did for the past 10 years. I know a guy who tested positive for HIV about 11 years ago. He pretended it didn't happen and did nothing about it. Today he is dying of AIDS. He's not even 40. So sad. That'd be my father. My mother was manic depressive, as it was called back then. She had several major breakdowns during my childhood. Every time, he'd act like nothing was wrong. She'd be screaming and throwing things. And he'd just try to placate her. It never worked. A couple times, I pointed out that she needed to be committed. He always responded that a person couldn't be committed unless they're a danger to themselves or others. True, but she obviously was. I was terrified of her. Even apart from the breakdowns. She threw rage attacks at the drop of a hat. Long story short, in my 20s I found out that A. they'd had 2 kids before me, and B. she'd drowned them in a bathtub during a psychotic episode. What I never found out was how she gore released her, why she was able to conceive me less than a year later. A friend was with me when I found out about B. He told me later that he'd always thought I was exaggerating when I said I'd feared for my life as a kid. I couldn't blame him. It does sound outlandish. After that, it was even more baffling that my father thought we were safe living with her. Nurse who thought the lump in her breast was nothing important and the open sore appearing was also nothing important, and once it started draining thought it was nothing important despite dressing it daily. Was confronted by coworkers after the smell became so rank it lingered where she went. Stage 4 cancer with mets to bones and brain. Died soon after. She was the manager of the oncology unit. Probably my BF's mother. They live in squalor. Have totally ruined their house by neglecting all responsibilities for 20+ years. Won't allow anyone into it because it's so dirty. The property is full of junk cars, poison ivy and stray trash. She brags about their great house, how much money they have. So then pay your personal property taxes, which are overdue 5 years. Which won't happen because they eat out for every meal since the kitchen is out of order. She's an alcoholic and completely dependent on weed. My family, when my mom was diagnosed with a hereditary, incurable, no survival rate over 4 years cancer. We all thought she'd be the one to beat it. She was gone within a year at 55. No amount of good diet, exercise, education can beat bad genes and life's unfairness. The facts were there. It was still like a freight train hit us. Friend is an alcoholic and does cocaine nearly every day, binge drinking and doing coke till 7 a.m. Gets winded standing up for too long, but he's fine and not going to die because he is skinny and got his liver enzyme checked and it was in the regular. Me. thinking I'll get in better shape and lose some weight while doing literally nothing to make it happen. Upside down face. IDK. But immediately above this on my feed was a screenshot from Grindr where someone said, "Honestly have no interest in men. Sex is just sex to me. My mom, there are no gay people in India." Her wondering why one of her friend's son is not interested in meeting any girls and me explaining that he's gay. Had a friend planning weekends away and activities when they were 9 months pregnant and about to drop. Think they were just scared and trying not to think about it. My elderly friend who has fallen 4 times already, breaking 2 ribs once, a wrist once, and bruised up the other times. He still refuses to use a cane out of some male pride thing. He can't understand that we all age. And if he keeps falling he will end up with a broken hip and bedridden and miserable. My sister wears flannel shirts and has really short hair and drives a Subaru and wears a battle axe necklace and has a pile of Sports Illustrated swimsuit editions and a lesbian pride flag in her room, and my mom still hasn't figured out she's gay. My dismissive, avoidant mom was a master of denial. The worst was when she got an abscess in her pelvic area. She was in 10 out of 10 pain. Couldn't sit up. Was literally white-knuckling a body pillow while laying on the couch, unable to move for a weekend. When I, age 10, would suggest she go to a doctor, it was all, "Oh no, I'm totally fine. I don't need to see a doctor." This woman literally scheduled an appointment with a specialist and waited the 10-ish days for the appointment instead of going to urgent care. She drove herself there in 10 out of 10 pain. The doctor took one look at her and told her to put on a gown and meet her downstairs for immediate surgery. They drained so much yuck from her and she had to have the gauze packing to heal the crater left behind, etc. It's a miracle she didn't get sepsis. Bonus story. She suddenly became allergic to ibuprofen in her 40s and turned beet red after taking some. Instead of going to the doctor, she went to her hair appointment like normal. Hairdresser refused to cut her hair and made her to go the doctor. My mom just went home instead and laid on the couch huffing and puffing until the reaction went away. She told me this story like it was a totally sane and normal thing to do. Hilaria Baldwin's commitment to her fake Spanish accent. Even after she was outed as having been born and raised in Boston with zero Spanish heritage. My mother has sat through 2 court cases for her children and seen 2 sons go to prison. I have spent 15 years explaining, or trying to her why so many of her kids turn to alcohol, child pornography or violence. She has gone through phases of no contact where her kids won't talk to her, or won't let her see grandkids. But just a few days ago before Christmas she denied that anything bad happened in the family or that there was any abuse. No. Her children just mysteriously start to act weird in their mid-20s. 2 kinds. There are the hoarders whose home is completely messy and decrepit, stocked and ransacked with absolutely unnecessary and disgusting stuff. Then you got the other kind. The people living in unaddressed massive debt that keep spending money they don't have and using or getting new credit cards when they max out. I am not better than that. In fact, I broke free of both those situations the end of last year, but it was truly eye-opening. Mental illness can rot your life from the inside out without any mercy if left unchecked and untreated. Yikes. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.